The ocean is made up of water, and water is neither good nor bad. So likewise, we humans, we make up the human race. We're children of God. We're neither good nor bad. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Sheila, your spiral sister, Sheila Murray here. Still in nerve pain, still feeling it from the middle finger all the way up and down my arm. Down my arm, across my shoulder blade, into the upper rib cage area, and down my back to the bottom side of my shoulder blade, my right shoulder blade. So of course it would affect my writing, handwriting, and all of that because it's the right hand. But honestly, I do not see how people live in any kind of pain, whether it be a toothache or other, for more than a few days. I mean, it's really been ridiculous. I haven't been able to sleep well. It's impacted every area of my life, from cooking, washing dishes, cleaning the apartment, writing my blog, all of that. But the quick update on that is, after a chiropractic visit, I do feel better. I would say he probably fixed the root cause. But the subsequent nerve pain and the pain that radiates from that incident, whatever the incident was that broke the camel's back, that's going to take some time, I think, to heal. And I am using a lot of supportive remedies, both from a nutrition standpoint as well as a topical, as well as massage. So I have every hope that I will improve. Here's the kicker, and I just told my uncle this the other day on the phone, and that's why I wanted to come on and give you a little brief. It's that no matter what spiritual practice we follow, whether it's simply breath work, and now I know when I do my breath work, I need to lift my breastbone up and keep my head back over my body at all times, but especially when I'm doing that, because that practice of breath work keeps us in the present moment and keeps us in alignment spiritually. So it's an obvious time to keep our body in alignment spiritually as well. So I wanted to let you know that. I believe no matter what spiritual practice that we choose, or how much faith we have as well, as a Christian, I've seen this over and over again, myself definitely included, is that we tend to look externally. We look outside ourselves for solutions. And of course, a lot of people would say, well, God is outside of ourselves too. But I believe that everything is connected, even more so after completing this book. We are all connected. And even more so as I sit with this pain and I go inwards with it, I realize that God is above, below, around, and through. embedded and imbued in all of us at all times, whether you want to see God as the little divine spark, the still small voice, but reconnecting with the presence of God in the midst of pain, in the midst of suffering, I think is key. And I think that for me, for sure, has been one thing that I have not done on a consistent basis. Yes, there have been times in my life when I have, and I've certainly felt and seen spirit move. But to rely on God, to just do our breath work, to go inward, to listen for the still small voice, and, if you will, perform laying on of hands on yourself, believing that God will move within you, around you, and through you, from above, below, the east and west, the north and south, through every direction. It's something that I've taught in integrating the spirals, because I'd seen a plaque that talked about giving credence to every direction, and I thought, well, there are more directions than just four. So that just helped me expand my consciousness and inform my spirituality too, and my belief in God, to the state that we don't have to limit ourselves to one. When you have an incident, like I did a few weeks ago, the very first thing we should do is pray. Pray for ourselves, do our breath work, go inward. Ask our body, where did I hurt myself? How am I hurting myself? Because I think a lot of times it's repetitive, over and over again hurt, right? So do that, sit with it, see what comes. Get your Bible out, get your spiritual sacred scriptures out, read them, meditate, pray, hug yourself, love yourself, allow yourself to be loved. If you ultimately feel, and yes, I should have seen my chiropractor, I'm going to should myself now. I should have seen my chiropractor a couple of weeks ago, after this didn't go away within a day or two. Yes, I should have, but I didn't. And now I feel like I'm kind of continuing to pay for that, because the longer I let that hurt stay in my body, or that misalignment, shall we say, the more the nerve got inflamed. So that's really the ultimate lesson I've learned through this process, is that no one should have to be in pain for any particular length of time, any duration of time. If we continue to put our faith in God, I know even people who have been in chronic pain. I have a particularly close friend who's been in horrible pain for years, and I do not know the strength of will it's taken for her to live with that, or increase her pain tolerance and all of those things. And she is a person of faith, with very strong faith. But I do think that there's a reason. There are myriad reasons that these things happen to us, but certainly as a test, an exercise of our faith, more of an exercise than a test. We sometimes do have to live through things like this, or even, let's say, a pregnancy. That's 9 months of long-term focus on yourself and your unborn baby, to make sure that your health is in the highest peak that it can be to help you create a just much more robust and healthy and vibrant baby, vibrant child, so that when you give birth, that child has every advantage it can possibly have. So, not to go off the rail, but that's what happens in integrating the spirals. We spiral out and we look at something. We take a general statement or belief and we extrapolate it out into different directions, and we try to apply it, and then if it holds up under scrutiny, we can feel fairly confident that it's something that at least for some period of time we can use as a sort of a guidepost or sort of rail in our life to help us come back to center and stay balanced. So yes, while I've sat with this pain and while I've lived through this process, that's ultimately what I come back to, is that I didn't first reach out to God, and I want to always ensure that I do that. So this is me talking to myself and re-encouraging myself and re-supporting myself and empowering myself to do that. Because ultimately I believe God created us, and God created our bodies in a certain way and for a certain purpose. And because God created me, why shouldn't I turn to God first? The God that's ever present, omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent. That's the God that I believe in, the God that I feel, and the God that I worship. And through God, everything is possible. So if God created me, then God has the key. If God created me, God has the key. That's tweetable. And ultimately, God can heal me, fix me. When this first happened, I told Richard, I said, I broke myself, so I ought to be able to fix myself. But you see, it's much more than that. I might have broken myself, but if I truly believe in God, in God's existence, and that God's in me, through me, around me, envelops me, because for many years I've said I'm enveloped by omniscience. So bringing that into this conversation, bearing that in mind, God should be my first remedy. Blessings.